All right, we're ready to get started. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is John Wells. I am one of the founders and CEO of Lake City. We're going to go through several things tonight. I know when I'm on these webinars, I always want to hear about my deal and the deal I'm in and how that's going. We will get to that as soon as possible. I do think there is a little background we do want to share and just add color to Lake City, what we're up to, and our philosophy, so you know what we're getting into. So, just a quick background on myself. Sam is my wife. She's our director of acquisitions. Growing up, we received all the traditional advice on how to become wealthy. Get a degree, get a job, save for retirement, and a well-diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. When Sam and I got together, we had a negative net worth of over $100,000 and a ton of student loan debt. And we looked at our salaries and looked at our debt, and the math was not hard to do that we would be poor our whole lives. And we wanted to do something different. So we studied what the affluent do and how to become wealthy. We learned what the wealthy invest in, and they don't invest in stocks, bonds, or mutual funds, or they do a little bit of that, but mainly they get wealthy by buying businesses and buying real estate. This is a really good chart I just want to share with everyone that completely changed my paradigm on our investing philosophy. We started out here on the left, and this is probably 90% of Americans out there. Their principal residence is their net worth, which has been very nice the last couple of years, but having all your eggs in something like that is not going to be where you need to be when retirement is knocking at the door. So on the right is the focus now. So these are folks with 10 million plus net worth, and they buy businesses, invest in private equity and real estate. So I know preserving wealth is very good to diversify, but to acquire wealth, diversification isn't necessarily the way to go. So that was a huge paradigm shift, and that's exactly why Sam and I got into investing in these sort of deals and learning about them. We started putting these deals together about a decade ago, and we set them up the way that we invest in other deals and what we look for. And what's really important to us are monthly distributions, because our bills come monthly, so our income should come monthly too. That's the whole point of doing this, to make sure we compare our bills with our passive income. We look for equal tax benefits and to keep our equity position throughout the life of the investment, so we don't get kicked out of the deal after we get all our money back. We took the risk on the front end. We want to see the reward on the back end as well. So through masterminds and conferences, we have partnered with several different private equity groups, and we met and partnered with Iggy on a deal in Lake City, Florida called Amberwood Hills. And little did we know that Lake City Equity would be born then and there. We did our first deal together exclusively in Augusta, Georgia, which many of you are a part of, Oakwood Ridge. And since Augusta, we've partnered up with Wendy Dorchester and Watson Lark, our COO and CFO, and really focus on operations. Since then, we've scaled to 1,250 doors in South Carolina and Georgia across 15 assets. And one of the best decisions we ever made from day one was have property management in-house. So we are vertically integrated. We have total control. We manage all our own assets and nobody else's assets. The point of the property management company is to ensure the assets have successful outcomes. So Watson's background, was a senior accountant at Converge Operative, and also worked at PwC prior to that. Brings a significant experience in accounting knowledge. multifamily and multifamily property management is really 50-50 accounting and operations. Accounting piece is so important to this. Wendy's background is she was a VP of operations at Pegasus and Hawthorne. She's a regular keynote speaker at the National Apartment Association. She is a culture creator. That's what really attracted us to her. That's what we were looking to build in our company. Wendy is known in the industry as Miss Multifamily, and you'll see why. And you'll see the talent she brings with her. Mike is our regional maintenance supervisor. Tammy is our VP of operations, and Katie is our corporate coordinator. So we really focus that culture piece is really important to us in building a solid infrastructure throughout the organization, starting at the top. Vision, values, and our vision, values, and what am I missing, guys? So let me talk through the values here. Purpose. Thank you. I don't know who said that, but vision, values, and purpose. So that getting it right at the very beginning is super important to us. And essentially, we just took a mirror and pointed it at our own associates that we know embody what we're looking for and what we're looking to build. And this is what we saw in that mirror. And it's honesty, Kaizen, which is the relentless pursuit of excellence, great attitudes, good freaking people. They're abundance minded and they have wit with grit. So wit is whatever it takes to get it done. Our purpose is to improve lives while having fun, achieving the impossible. And, you know, we like to have fun because right now we look like the Brady Bunch on this webinar. That was unintentional, but Wendy actually changed her background. If you would have heard the small talk, we didn't know people were getting on before we started this thing, so bear with us. We do like to have fun, and that's part of it, and we're not gonna shy away from doing that, because what's the point if you can't have fun? And our 10-year target is 25,000 doors, 125 properties, and 4 billion in assets under management. Right now, we have 200 million in assets under management. So some notable achievements over the last year: Oakleaf, Deerwood, Maverick Trails, Viera. We just recently closed 1,250 doors, as I mentioned. We have done so far this year $650,000 in distributions. To date, we've done over 1.5 million in distributions, which is incredible. Another one going out here this week. We've refinanced Savannah 162. That's 920 South and the 6 at Talina, or formerly known as Townwood of Windmill. And we are repositioning Oakleaf, Viera, Timberland, Abercorn, Deerwood, and Maverick Trails. Assets fully stabilized are the Folly, the Sullivan, Cedar Ridge, Oakwood, Mulberry, 920 South, and the 6 at Talina. So I will throw it over to Watson to give us a quick rundown of how our assets are performing recently.
Thank you, Jonathan. So we're going to run through these assets one by one. We're going to hit on some pretty high level points, and then Tammy is going to help me provide a little color about what drove some of these changes. So the first one we're going to go with is going to be the Folly. So we can see that we've had a slight decrease from the beginning of Q2 into the end of Q2. However, you can see that there's a slight spike here in May. The same goes with the operating expenses. We see that spike in May, but then in June we see a more drastic decrease in our month-over-month operating expenses and a less of a decrease in our month-over-month operating income. So that actually puts us at 9% to the good on NOI. Tammy?
All right. Hey, everyone. I'm going to go over and show you some before and after photos. This is the Folly before and the Folly after. The Folly right now is currently occupied at 93%. And we have had a lease trade out of 13.37%. The delinquency went from 17% to 10%. We've had 7 net leases and 20 renewals.
Awesome, thank you. So it's a very similar story at the Sullivan 51. We can see here that beginning at Q2, April into May, we saw income start to increase. We kind of hit a peak and then we started to go down a little bit. Same trajectory with our operating expenses. We can see that as we try to fill units, those operating expenses are going to increase, and then our plan is to always have them plateau or decrease at a faster rate than our income is increasing. We can see here that that did happen, and once again, we're going to see that slight decrease in NOI, but then from May going into June, we can see that that increase in NOI is much more significant than the decrease in operating income. The Sullivan 79, so this is a little bit different story. We can see that the operating income and operating expenses are aligned. You see them both kind of making that pyramid shape. However, we weren't able to flatten out our operating expenses as fast as we would have liked here. So we have seen NOI drop by about 10% from April into June.
All right, everyone, here are some before and after pictures of the Sullivan. Looks really great in person, really has enhanced the curb appeal. The current occupancy there is 93%. They have had a lease trade out of 8%. Delinquency has went from 8% to 4%. We've had 20 net leases and 47 renewals. And while the Sullivan asset has not hit their performer goals, we're really confident in the fact and strategy that we are going to be executing.
Oakleaf. So this is a graph that should get everybody excited. We can see here that we've had about a 4% increase month over month from the beginning of Q2 to the end of Q2. Expenses, when we first acquire an asset, it usually takes at least 1 to 2 quarters to kind of see our expenses normalize to where we can, with some degree of certainty, kind of estimate where we're going to land at the end of each month. Right here, we can see at the beginning of Q2, back in April, that expenses were relatively high, and they took a nice big nosedive, while at the same time we continued to, increase our top line. So NOI took a huge bump from the beginning of April to the end of June.
It looks awesome. That's like a huge bump.
Fantastic.
That slope. Sorry, continue.
Oh, you're good. Oakleaf's our little rock star right now. The paint started, so you can see here a before and after of our exterior paint and our interior renovations. They're beautiful. The occupancy right now is 91%. The lease trade out is at 47%, which is amazing. We've had 22 renovations completed, and we currently have 10 in process. Delinquency went from 5% to 3%. We've had 22 net leases and 30 renewals, and our goal is to hit 50 renovations by the end of this year.
Awesome. So this should be another graph that gets everybody as excited. I know it's not as great as what Oakleaf was doing, but when I look at this, what I really try to concentrate on is this huge nosedive that operating expenses took. We can see at the top that we kind of have that same little pyramid going on that we saw with the Folly and the Sullivans. We would expect our operating expenses once again to increase as we try to fill units. However, what we were able to do really successfully here is to control our operating expenses after we started to fill some of those units, and we saw a huge positive bump in NOI. We actually have about 6% increase month over month in operating income, and then a 42% increase across the entire quarter. So that helped bump our NOI about 50%.
Yes, we are moving and grooving at Abercorn. We've got some before and after pictures here. So the paint is in the process of getting started, and this is what it's going to look like once it's done. I'm super excited to see it. I think it's going to look so cute and so amazing. The occupancy currently is at 88%. We've increased it by 13%. Lease trade out is at 5.94%. We have 18 renos in process right now. Delinquency went from 16% to 11%. We've had 45 net leases and 39 renewals.
Thank you, Tammy. So Timberland, once again, same kind of pyramid story that you see up here at the top, except we're seeing income start to drop at a little bit faster rate than we would like. In fact, it's dropping a little bit faster than our operating expenses are, and I know that that's something that the operations team is concentrated on. But we still do see a nice net increase overall in NOI throughout the quarter, and then it kind of starts to plateau from May to June. But we anticipate that we'll be able to get these operating expenses down even a little bit more as we try to continue to fill the rest of our units.
Absolutely, yes. We are working on that diligently. We should have about 15 renovations ready for move-in mid-August. So they're pre-leasing those right now. Current occupancy is at 79%. We've increased it by 6%. Lease trade out is at 5.5%. We have 24 total renos in process. Delinquency went from 18% to 13%, 44 net leases and 44 renewals.
Thank you, Tammy. So this is Oakwood Ridge, which is made up of Oakwood Village and Cedar Ridge. We can see here at the top that that triangle isn't as drastic as the other slides that we've looked at, but we have seen a slight decrease in operating income on a month-over-month basis. However, we were able to curb those expenses, and we did actually a pretty good job of it, I would say. They dropped by about 17%. So even though we, saw a 1% decrease in our income, we saw a 17% decrease in operating expenses, which ended up giving us a 16% increase in our overall NOI.
Perfect. So here are some before and after pictures of the interior units, and they look amazing in person. Our occupancy currently there is at 92%. We've increased occupancy by 3%. The lease trade out is at 2.92%. Delinquency went from 16% to 11%. We've had 38 net leases and 52 renewals between Oakwood Village.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tammy. This is going to be the last one that we speak on. However, this is another graph very similar to Oakleaf that should get you pretty excited. So this asset had a pretty rough start to the beginning of the year. However, you can see this huge jump in income. I haven't released the BVAs for that, but I think we ended at about 104% of what we performed. So super solid. We see our operating expenses kind of start to go up very slightly from April to May, but then we see it drop from May to June. So we actually had a net zero increase month over month in operating expenses while having about a 13% month over month increase in income. So we were really excited about the way that this one's performing.
Yes, these two properties have done a drastic turnaround. The on-site team has just been amazing. They're currently occupied at 98%. We've increased the occupancy by 17%. The lease trade outs at 10.06%. Delinquency went from 22% to 12%. They've had 48 net leases and 50 renewals. And just big shout out to this team because they're a two-man crew. They've got one in the office and one on the outside. So they've done a lot of work in the last 90 days.
This is just amazing.
It is.
Yeah, even when I hear it over and over again, I just get so excited.
It's definitely our second quarter success story.
Woohoo!
All right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our recent acquisitions. So as we all know, we just recently closed Viaret Whitmarsh. It's currently 98% occupied. They've had 11 move-ins since we've taken over. New rents are on an average of a $305 increase from the previous ownership. It's got a really strong team. The new manager has settled in well. She's doing amazing. They've completed 41 work orders and done 7 make-readies. And we haven't even had this property for 30 days yet. And it's beautiful. So next up will be Deerwood and Maverick Trails. We purchased them in June. Deerwood is at 100% occupied and leased. Maverick Trails is at 92% occupied, 97% leased. We're getting the pro forma rents, and we haven't done any upgrades or anything additional to receive those, so that's phenomenal. They've already completed all of the preventative maintenance for both of the properties, and they're doing in-house pressure washing to make the property just clean and fresh for the residents. Very excited about these 3 new acquisitions that we have. And up next, we're going to let Mike talk about our capital projects for 2024. Take it away.
Hey, thanks, Tammy. Good evening, everybody. I'm the regional maintenance supervisor for Lake City Living, and my job is to ensure the proper usage of your investment, along with protecting that investment. So when I think about CapEx, I think about elevating the curb appeal, providing residents with the comfort of convenience through improved amenities, and hitting them with the wow factor as they walk in the door of their brand new apartment. So I'm going to start with the Charleston properties. At the Folly, the main focus here is interior renovations with updated fixtures and plumbing, appliances, and opening the floor plan with removal of dining island, giving us a more modern look throughout the apartment. At the Sullivan, reviewing the CapEx here, I see us focusing on the curb appeal and really bringing up the drive-through look. New signage and landscaping will really go a long way here, along with fencing improvements and added amenities like playgrounds and swings. For Oakleaf, exterior CapEx projects are going to be really the draw of attention here. Painting of the old-fashioned brick with a white lime wash while adding a pop of color with our chosen color, Salty Dog Blue. We are also fencing in the backyards for each unit to provide an intimate and private outdoor area for residents to enjoy. Another big focus for Oakleaf is really adding to the resident experience here on site with the additions of a dog park, upgrading the pavilion with a new grill station, and providing residents with activities like cornhole and ping pong. Into Savannah for Timberland and Abercorn. Here we are discussing 4 different properties with lots of exciting projects started or about to get started. Portfolio-wide, we'll be looking at exterior paints and repairs, bringing a fresh and updated look to our facilities. These properties include 3 pools as well, which have been updated with new furniture and will have installation of cameras and fob systems to ensure the safety and security of our residents. We have converted office space into on-site gym for the convenience of a quick workout. And we are looking at interior upgrades across the board, which will include flooring, fixtures, appliances, AC units, blinds, cabinet fronts, and hardware to provide residents with that new look appeal. Moving to Talina and 920, the curb appeal really stands out here with the upgrades for these properties, including exterior paints and repairs, getting modern signage for doors and buildings to make finding the units easier, along with better signage to draw in potential prospects. Deerwood and Maverick, we want to start off with the upgrades in the units to give residents matching fixtures and updated features, including blinds and faucets. We also have extra office space, which we want to convert into an on-site gym and lounge area, which will provide the residents with a better on-site experience. Last but not least, Viera. For me, the landscape upgrades really stand out at this property. We have plenty of trees to trim and remove to not only elevate our appeal, but to protect our asset and residents. Big amenity upgrades, including redoing the tennis court and converting half to pickleball, renovating the laundry and fitness center into one large gym, elevating our residents' experience. Exterior repairs will also be focused on to include exterior repairs of gutters, windows, balconies, and stairs, and then to come back with the fresh paint to make it all stand out. Interior renovations here will include upgrades to fixtures and plumbing, along with granite, and installing a smart home package that will offer residents some in-home versatility not usually provided by others. In summary, our first impression is our last impression, and with these ongoing and planned CapEx projects, you will see your investment flourish.
Exciting. I want to live at all the properties, Mike.
No, thanks, Mike. I really appreciate your overview of renovations, Tammy in operations, and also Watson, our Chief Financial Officer, for giving us that overview. You know, I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Lake City Living. I'm so happy to have all of you on the call tonight. 2024 has been a fantastic year for us. We have faced some headwinds with some challenging on-site labor costs, as well as challenges with getting vendors on site at some of our properties, but that hasn't stopped us. While we do recognize that on a few properties, we are lagging behind on some of our pro forma rents, as well as some of our expenses, we've been doing a lot of things to correct the traction that we're on for the remainder of 2024 and make sure that we're definitely providing results for you. So our team has been focused on increasing ancillary income, increasing our rents up to the pro forma rents that were budgeted during underwriting, as well as making sure that we watch every penny that we spend. We do feel that the last 2 quarters of the year will see tremendous traction for your investment as we stabilize all of the properties in the portfolio and continue to provide renovations on our newer assets. I couldn't be more proud of this team because they've really dug in there. At the same time that we've been doing renovations and operating stabilized properties, we've also been building the infrastructure out, owner managed assets at Lake City Living. All of everything that we own, we manage in-house. So every single person on this webinar here today invests in our assets, and we work on our assets on a daily basis with boots on the ground. We've provided infrastructure such as HR and IT benefits for our employees. Just numerous things that we've implemented, such as an Entrata, which is a major national property management software. We've been very resident focused, making sure that all of our amenities and our service level is up on all of our properties, and been very focused on curb appeal. So I think the future of Lake City Living is extremely bright for the remainder of the year. Our Director of Acquisitions, Sam Wells, as well as Iggy, Dr. Igowitz, who's one of our founders, as well as one of the strongest people I know for making deals flow. We've got some great deal flow coming in, some future acquisitions. That, coupled with strong operations, is sure to maximize our revenue as we capitalize on ancillary income, minimize your expenses so that we can provide strong NOI and value for everyone here on this call tonight. Our phones and email are always available to you. And so we welcome you to send your questions to us. We also launched lakecityliving.com. So if you want to take a look at all of the communities and what we're doing with our culture, you're welcome to visit us there. And then, of course, Lake City Equity, which is our equity arm. I'm going to turn it back over to John, but it's been a pleasure to host you all tonight.
Thank you, Wendy. I can't be any more proud of this team. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to put my money anywhere else. And I'm not just saying that, like, quite literally, that's the only place we put our money. So, yeah, one question I'm going to throw out there that I know everyone is asking, or nearly everyone except for on a couple deals, is where are our K1s? So I just want to nip it in the bud with that. We are in contact with the accountant every single day. Just a little background, not to make excuses on that. I made the decision, I take full responsibility early on in the year to it looked like we were going to get a bill passed to get 100% depreciation in Congress and the Senate. There was deadlock, so we decided to wait. We were ready. Watson and his team were ready March 15th to initiate K1s, and I said, let's wait for this bill to go through. Everyone thought it was going to go through. It did not. And so we delayed, and then decided to move forward. I think June, at the beginning of June, we said, this isn't going to happen. Let's get K1s done. And we've just had some deadlock with between the tax accountant. It is a third-party tax accountant. It is not in-house. But all the information is with them. They're working through it as hard as they can. We're in constant contact. At the very second we get them, they will be uploaded into the portal, and you will be notified. So it should be starting next week. We should be starting to see them through the middle of August. So I apologize again for the delay. And, you know, again, I take full responsibility for that happening, and the intention in 2025 is to have them out by March 15th again. So anyway, I think, anything else we need to talk about?
Like to end on something more positive than K1s, but I just want to say thank you to the team, and the outlook is really bright for the rest of this year. Like Wendy said, it's been a really great year, and thanks for hanging with us for the K1s. We like to be quick learners, so if we learn something one time, we own it, and then we will not do that again. So thanks everybody for sticking with us, and on to the end of the year and 2025.
Oh, yeah. And Tammy, is there any way we can put in those Facebook links? Is that too much right now in the chat? Is that pushing it?
Ooh.
I totally forgot about it.
No worries.
Why don't
All
we-
of our
I'm gonna email
properties.
those out.
We'll
We can
email
email
them
them
out.
out.
I love the properties, or actually like them on Facebook, because these are your apartments too. You know, your partners with us. So like these apartments, Tammy and Wendy and the whole team worked really hard to create these. So make it happen.
Any comment, likes, and shares on Facebook. We're also, you know, all the reviews, we're working to get those up. So, yeah, social,
We'll send out the links in an email for everybody.
social reputation is huge. All right. Well, thank you again, everyone that showed up, and we look forward to doing this again shortly, and we'll have some major updates pretty soon. I know the whole team has multiple millions of dollars being deployed and repositioning right now. So exciting times. We'll keep it posted. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a great evening.